Here's an incredible Bigfoot encounter story I want to share with you today. It was November, deep in the remote, ancient Elliott State Forest in Oregon. An experienced hunter had the unbelievable sighting of a lifetime. This dense primordial forest filled with 15-year-old towering coniferous trees, lush ferns, and thick, untouched foliage was like a second home to him. He had been hunting here with his father since he was just 5 years old, learning to track elusive prey through the brush. Now in his 30s, he was no novice to wildlife, having encountered almost every majestic species in Oregon, including massive Kodiak bears and moose in the Alaskan wilderness. But nothing could prepare him for what he witnessed that overcast fall day. As the hunter slowly made his way down a tree-lined ridge around 2 p.m., carefully scanning his surroundings, something caught his eye 70 yards away. At first he thought it might be a foolish hunter wearing bright clothes that would stick out like a sore thumb, breaking every rule of the hunt. But as the figure moved closer, traversing 30 yards in just a few quick, long-legged strides, he realized this was no man. Walking upright on 2 legs and standing at an estimated 8 feet tall, it had 2 arms swinging at its sides and no sign of a snout like a bear. He lowered to his knees, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Heart racing, he steadied his binoculars with shaking hands. Peering through the lenses, he watched in awe as the massive creature stopped between 2 tree-dotted ridges and sat down on a fallen alder tree. In the hunter's own words, it casually swung its legs back and forth like a person sitting on a fence rail. Reaching down with its hands, it foraged for foliage, likely eating as it sat. The creature had its furry back turned, oblivious to its audience. He noted its fur was brown with a lighter tone across the shoulders. He could detect no distinct ears atop its head, which was shaped large like a man's, but with no visible snout. The hunter recounted, "It was about 70 yards as the crow flies at the time I first saw it. My first thought was that the hunter must have a death wish wearing that color clothes out here. Then I quickly realized that it was not a man at all." After 30 tense minutes crouched in the same spot, he knew he had to get out of there. Who knew how many more creatures could be close by? Gripping his rifle tightly and clicking the safety off, he turned and hiked back up the ridge as fast as possible, leaves crunching under his boots. Constantly checking over his shoulder, his heart pounded as the adrenaline flooded his system. The carefree creature remained sitting, swaying its legs without concern, having no idea how close it had come to a man. He vividly remembers, "I was pretty scared. I knew that this Bigfoot probably had some family somewhere in the vicinity, say a quarter to a half mile of where we were. I was about 1 mile down from the beginning of the ridge. It was a good 4 or 5 miles by road to where the vehicles would be." The shaken hunter swiftly made his way back to the vehicles, amazed and spooked by what he saw. He had whistled at the beast to no avail. It never flinched or acknowledged his presence. What exactly was this lumbering yet agile human-like creature? How could it be so wild yet so at ease? This close encounter left more questions than answers racing through his mind. One thing was certain. This experienced outdoorsman and hunter was convinced beyond a doubt that he had seen Bigfoot. He recalls, "I've been fortunate to have seen almost every species of animal that we have in the state. This was not a man, bear, or any other animal that I have ever seen before in my life. Not in pictures or in person.